And people like doing business with people they can trust in the community. And that's a huge thing that a national company can't do. Birmingham, Rochester, those are different neighborhoods. When you're local, you know the difference between the neighborhoods too, especially when it comes to values and stuff like that. So, having that expertise with home buyers and realtors really pays off.
There's a lot of lenders that had so many more loan officers than us, but we did more volume.
Yeah.
Because we kept it boutique, we kept it, with just mortgage professionals. We did really good customer service. We bonused our loan officers on customer survey scores. I think that's the thing about being boutique versus being huge, is that I can concentrate on each person, and I think you just got to pour into them and make them feel loved and make them feel appreciated, and that your vision aligns with theirs.
We've been doing this podcast for over 20 episodes now, and we've brought on top mortgage professionals to give you insights that help you grow your business. And we're going to keep doing that. There's just one favor I ask of you. It'll mean a lot to us if you subscribe to show your support. Now back to the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Loan Officer Playbook, the podcast where we talk about real insights and strategies in loan origination. Today I'm joined with Roy Meshel. Roy is a local mortgage broker in the Arizona market. Roy has been in the business for many decades, started a company, sold a company, and now he's starting it all over again. And I'm super excited to have Roy on the podcast today. Welcome, Roy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Roy,
excited to be here.
Yeah. You are the very first person that we are doing a podcast with in person. So you're breaking this ground for the podcast.
All right, I'm glad I'm the first.
Yeah. So what brings you to Michigan?
So visiting UWM as a mortgage broker, they're one of the people we rely on. So they do this thing, Success Track, which is classes to help you become better, grow your business. So I was
out here for that, so it worked out great. But a big fan of the whole Success Track thing and partners who will help grow your business.
Amazing. Yeah, we're huge fans of growing local, and I just think like being involved in the entire local ecosystem, because you have a monopoly on that local market.
Right.
And it's very hard for a company that says, oh, hey, we're going to dominate every single market. But like this distributed nature of just being local in one market and then understanding everything about that market. What do you think about the importance of being local?
So I think it's hugely important. Like, I think people want to do business with their neighbors, right? Instead of some big, huge company. Like a lot of people,
not to diss Starbucks because I go there, but a lot of people like the locally owned coffee shop that's in their neighborhood better than going to Starbucks because they feel like they're giving back to the community. They think they're a part of the community. And then really like local companies get involved in the community.
In different aspects, whether it's sponsoring high school sports or a charity or something. I think there's something to be said for being really involved in your community. And that's a huge thing that a big, huge national company can't do.
Yeah.
But on the backside, we have a huge company behind us, right? Like UWM's behind us. So we have the power of these big companies, but I'm the guy you see at the grocery store, right? I'm the guy you see at the coffee shop. I know about like your kids just went off to college. I know all that stuff. And people like doing business with people they can trust in the community.
Yeah. So it's like you have this big powerhouse, but then you have these ambassadors, if you will.
Right.
I think calling them like mortgage ambassadors it could be...
That's a great name.
Yeah.
And I might plagiarize it.
Yeah, because you're representing the big company, but you're also involved in the local ecosystem,
right.
And understanding everything that happens.
And you know the market better too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing when people use out of state or these big national people, I've spent some time here, like I know there's Birmingham, Rochester, those are different neighborhoods. When you're local, you know the
difference between the neighborhoods too, especially when it comes to values and stuff like that, that if you cross this street, it's a different neighborhood.
Yeah. So,
having that expertise with home buyers and realtors really pays off.
Yeah. Has it always been this way in the industry, like the hyper local focus, or when you first started, was it different?
So I think there was a time where big companies were better for some reason. People thought that. But I think it started local.
It went to like these big, huge companies that had call centers and all that stuff. And then I think people realized there was something missing in that. I think people got like well, you don't know the neighborhood I'm talking about, and we have like a appraisal issue, and the appraiser compared this house to a house, but I know it's 4 blocks, but that's a different neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the values change like that. Or they don't know what's happening in the market, because like, you know, you hear all the things on the national news about a buyer's market or a seller's market or this trend, but it's super local that there's all these little sub-markets, and this neighborhood's super hot, but this one's not so hot. And, you know, this one's a buyer's market, and this one the sellers dominate. So I think, you know, people started to realize that local is better.
Yeah. I was talking to one mortgage broker out in Nevada, and he was mentioning he's not local, he does wholesale stuff, but he said the worst job he ever had in mortgage was being a dialer at a large mortgage company.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there are any other jobs worse than being a dialer. Because you're just like a machine, just doing all the calling, and you cannot have that personal relationship with the borrower.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Like I worked at one point in my career for an FDIC that besides your own business, they gave you leads, and the leads FDICs can lend in all 50 states. And I would get like leads in, you know, Indiana and Arkansas, and there was something missing, right? Like you could bond with the person over the phone, but you know, when they said stuff about their house, you're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds great.
Yeah. So what's something unique in the Arizona market?
So I think the Arizona market forever has been crazy waves. Like we're either, it's a seller's market and there's 17 offers over ask, or it's really, you know, there's the houses sit. I think we don't benefit from like a normal market ever. Like it's very few times that it's just a balanced normal market. It's either going one way or it's going the other. But it's usually
the over ask and the high demand thing, because so many people are moving there.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, that's unique. The other part that's unique is it's really hard to meet someone from Arizona who grew up in Arizona. Like I grew up in New York, you know, that's kind of common that people, like I moved here, you know, from Indiana, from Minnesota, from Michigan, from New York. So it's not a huge amount of people who say, I'm a fifth generation Arizonian.
Yeah, because it was a desert.
Right, yes. Or a lot of
Still
people.
is.
And the growth is insane.
Yeah.
And the other kind of thing that's like mind-boggling is everyone thinks like it's a desert in the water thing.
Yeah.
So we're using the same amount of water we used like 40 years ago because we're so efficient with it.
Oh, wow.
And it's the same amount of water with another 2.6 million people or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, like when people say you live in Arizona, there's no water, I'm like, actually
we're like super efficient with
Yeah.
water. Like
I've been to Arizona. One of the greenest lawns I've ever seen are in Arizona, like golf courses.
we have a lot of golf courses. If you like golf, it's a great place to go.
Like, how do you get so green at a golf course?
So then, you know, that's all gray water
Yeah.
on golf courses. So we're super efficient at water, you know, recycling water and making it efficient. So that's like kind of a little known fact about us.
Yeah. So last year, Scottsdale just surpassed Austin as the city with the largest density of millionaires.
Yeah.
How are you guys in the Arizona market dealing with all of these influx of rich people moving in and then buying up houses? Like, how's the local market sort of like, or locals welcoming this idea? And is housing scarce?
It's good and bad because, you know, there's a lot of people moving in buying houses, which are good for realtors, mortgage people and all that. But I was just having this conversation last night that it's hard for first-time homebuyers because they're boosting the price up.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to someone last night that I bought my first house for $210,000 or $11,000, and that same house sold 8 or 9 months ago for $865,000. So I couldn't do it again, right? Like if I was the first-time homebuyer now on what I made, you know, and it's all relative, but I mean, a first-time homebuyer buying an $865,000 house is, you know, not really realistic, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's good and bad that we're embracing a lot of people coming in because it's good for our economy. It's good for, you know, if you're selling your house, it's good. But if you're buying a house, you know, the prices have gone way up.
Yeah.
But we're definitely in a growth mode, especially Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look in Scottsdale, there's cranes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of a lot of density now, so it's a lot of condo buildings, but yeah, and a lot of tear downs on houses, but there's definitely been
an influx, which is good, because it's also brought an influx of cool restaurants, cool shops, cool art. It's, you know, it's brought a ton of stuff with it.
Yeah. If I was a first-time home buyer in Scottsdale, Arizona, what advice would you give to just consider me as a first-time home buyer?
So unfortunately, most of the advice is when I hear what you want in a place, is you have to drive to qualify. So you have to leave Scottsdale. Because you hear a lot of people say, well, you know, I want a house, I want 3 bedrooms, I want 2 bathrooms, I want a yard, I want a pool, and I want to be in Scottsdale. And then you get to what that costs in Scottsdale, I'm like, ooh, maybe not. But there are people who do it and do roommates, right? Like that's what I did on my first house, I had a roommate. So there is that, but I think most first-time home buyers have to drive out further from Scottsdale to get a house.
Yeah, just like anywhere else.
Right.
I lived in San Francisco before moving here.
Right, not the cheapest place.
Not the cheapest place in the world. And folks live in San Francisco, work in San Francisco, but live 30 miles south of San Francisco. And it sort of feels the same. Like you can still get the proximity to the city, and then you can come in some ways it's even better because you're not.
You get out of it for a little bit.
You're out of it for a little bit, yeah. So Roy, you are, you know, a lifelong mortgage professional, but you took a break, and then you started a company, you sold a company.
Yeah, I stayed in the mortgage business though. I was in management and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, I never left.
You never left?
Yeah, maybe for a long weekend, but that's it.
The first company that you started, can you tell me more about like how that company came to be? It was a different time, and you know, how are you looking forward to this new company that you've started?
Yeah, so the first company I started with 2 partners, and we took 2,000 square feet, and I thought, this is like huge, how are we ever gonna do this? And the original idea was that I would be kind of the front man, and then I would have assistants behind me, and we'd keep it boutique. And organically, it grew into the 7th biggest mortgage company in Arizona, so the 2,000 square feet, like then it went 4,000, then it was 20,000. And we based it a lot on giving really good customer service. Like there was, you know, everyone says they give customer service, and there were all these like shiny objects, and we did really good customer service. We bonused our loan officers on customer survey scores, which I think is harder to do today. Yeah. We had a bunch of salaried loan officers because I landed accounts and then we paid them a salary, so I was able to dictate how they do their business. We called it the state way, that you did this, this, and this. And I think times have changed, but you know, we were a broker, and then we became mini core, and then the financial thing hit, and warehouse lines were leaving the building like crazy. So then we went back to being a broker, and then eventually, you know, sold the company. But I think it was a different time. It was definitely an easier time to start a company, and it was easier to grow, for sure.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
So we started it in '99. I got into business in '91, worked for other people. We started it in '99, and then we sold it in 2009. So 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, had a great run.
Yeah.
We called it State Mortgage because we couldn't think of a name, and our attorney said we just have to have a name on the documents, and then we'll change it. And it was State Mortgage, and we thought it was the worst name, and we thought it was like so generic. But everyone's like, "No, that's a great name. Like, yeah, it sounds like you're established."
Yeah.
And so we, you know, it became State Mortgage, became a thing, and it was a great, you know, it was a great kind of boutique lender. We, you know, there's a lot of lenders that had so many more loan officers than us, but we did more volume.
Yeah.
Because we kept it boutique, we kept it, you know, with just mortgage professionals, what I would say.
What's the trick? Because I've seen a couple of brokerages that have fewer loan officers, but they do tremendously more volume.
So I think, for me, personally, that's what I love. Because you could pour into those people who really do a great job, and you could hold it to the standard. The other thing I think that hurts at the big brokerages is I'm going after a realtor and they had a bad experience because of these big brokers don't have a bar to entry and don't have a system and don't have values and don't have a method for doing loans. That realtor might have had a bad experience. Yeah. And the deal closed 2 weeks late. And then you're coming in and I'm trying to get your business, but you remember the last loan you did with the company, and I have to explain how I'm different. And I think once you're explaining, you've lost. Like if I have to explain to you, you've already shut off. You're like, yeah, I don't care about the whole thing. I'm not using you. Like, great, you're different. And then if you keep it boutique and you keep it small, everyone can hold themselves to that standard that then when I speak to you, like, I did have a cross transaction with you guys. Yeah, you went great. It was what's his name, but yeah, let's talk.
Yeah.
So I think that's, there's a benefit to being small and having really good people.
Yeah. You said something that I want to double click on. You said once you start explaining, you've lost.
Yes, for sure.
What do you mean by that?
So let's say, I'm soliciting your business, you're a realtor, and you did a transaction with, where I'm at a big brokerage, and you did a transaction before, and it closed 8 days late.
Yeah.
Those 8 days, whether you represented the buyer or the seller, was super stressful because they're blowing you up with phone calls like, what's happening? Why is this? Like, this person sucks, blah, blah, blah. We're closed. We had moving vans. We've ordered appliances. Both agents are stressed out.
Yeah.
So now I'm the next person in, but I'm different from that other loan officer because our company has 3,000 loan officers and I'm better than that loan officer you met. But I have to explain that.
Yeah.
So all you remember is it was really a stressful transaction. And, in your mind, you're like, I may never get a referral from those people because, I did a great job, but the lender didn't.
Yeah.
So once you're explaining, I think you lost.
You lost, yeah. That's a good insight. One of my friends who was raising capital, I think this applies to raising capital for a company too. He told me something. He's like, you're not convincing anybody. It's like there's no convincing. Like the moment you see yourself starting to convince somebody,
Right.
Like you've already lost
Right.
the deal. And so you have to set yourself up in a way where your service is exceptionally amazing, where you don't have to get into the process of like starting to convince people.
Right.
As soon as you get into the convincing phase, and then that relationship, what do people say? Like you're only as good as your last close or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is 100% true.
Yeah. Roy, what are you gonna do differently in this new company that you're starting?
So I think, some of the things I've learned over the years is one, database is king. Like you have to constantly work your database and constantly grow your database. Two, you never know who that person knows, right? Like so you get a loan that's small, that's hard, and you're like, this is such a small loan, but you never know who they know.
Yeah.
And they refer you to someone who's such a great referral source. And then I think, not sacrificing your values. There were times in the first company that we were boutique, but every once in a while, someone slipped through the cracks. And I think you got to get, if they do slip through the cracks, and sometimes we had a gut feeling like, why are we hiring them? Yeah. I think this time we're going to be stronger with going with our gut. Yeah. And then if one person does slip through the cracks, you got to get rid of them quickly. Yeah. You just got to cut them out as quick as you can. Yeah. And I think, that's one of the things we learned. And I think, the other thing we learned is systems work. The systems have changed, evolved in the mortgage business, but systems work, having a system for all your people, even though they're, 100% commission, saying if you want to work here, this is how we do a loan.
Yeah. The hiring thing is huge in the business because everyone's trying to take top producers from other people. And, you're running a business and this is a people business.
Right.
The best people you have, the best business you can do. How are you going to maintain the people that you have?
So I think you got to pour into them, right? You definitely have to pour your resources into them, and I think that's the thing about being boutique versus being huge is that I can concentrate on each person, and I think you just got to pour into them and make them feel loved and make them feel appreciated. And I think, that's one of the biggest things, that people want to be appreciated. Like money, everyone needs money, everyone has bills to pay, all that stuff, but people really want to feel appreciated too.
Yeah.
And people want to know that you're rowing the boat with them.
Yeah.
And I think that your vision aligns with theirs.